Nah. Made you grief.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville's regular council meeting. Today is Tuesday, September 12th, 2017, approximately 7 p.m. If we'd all kindly rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Hey, Joe, what part of moment of silence didn't you get, buddy?
That was
I think it was Nick.
Oh, that was Linda. Never mind.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mayor Arsenko?
Here.
Mrs. Gatos?
Here.
Dr. Grieslock?
He said he was going to be on speaker.
Mr. Harvey?
Here.
Mr. Johns?
Here.
Mr. Clary?
Here.
Mr. Duncan?
Here.
Mr. Wilson?
Here.
Mr. Little?
Here.
Mr. Ratcher?
Here.
Ms. Rock? Mr. Hugus?
Here.
Mr. Sedlak?
Here.
Mr. Weldon?
Here.
Ladies and gentlemen, just so everybody knows, Nick's on the phone. He has a good cold, and we're glad he stayed home because I'm sure nobody here or up here would like to get that. Sorry, Nick, I had to throw you under the bus.
Hope you're feeling better, Nick.
That's fine, thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll open up for public comment on proposed agenda items only. And again, as we did and have been trying, keep your comments 5 minutes and under. That's what happened Thursday.
He did a good job, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Well, you got to get the sign.
Is anybody signed in up there?
Me? Want it?
You the only one?
I'm the only one.
Sheet,
Leave it there.
Agenda items only, though, folks. Go
Hi,
ahead.
my name is Jay Wright. I live in Monroeville, and I'd like to talk to you about the permit on the roads for geokinetics. I hope you turn it down, because they already have a permit from PennDOT issued, so they don't need state road permits, but they need a permit for our roads. That's all I'm asking. I hope you turn it down. And one last question. Are you going to vote next month on an ordinance about fracking? Have we given a solicitor any rules to write up an ordinance for fracking?
None that I'm aware of, unless council.
No, the idea was just to really concentrated on this ordinance and kind of put all our energies here, but that will be the next step. I don't know if it'll be as soon as next month.
I do have a proposal for council tonight to take an intermediate step with the existing ordinance that I'll present during my report.
Okay, and it's a little bit off the topic, but it's also very important. As you know, once someone applies for a DEP permit, we're done. We don't control any part of it. So if you guys and ladies would like to control this, you have to put an ordinance in effect.
I think we're working on just that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address council on the proposed agenda items only?
Yesterday.
And if you haven't signed in, please do so and state your name for the record.
Georgiana Woodhull, 4560 Broadway Boulevard. I believe it was mentioned at Citizens Night that Mr. Ratcher was working on gas and oil regulations, and that was something that would be discussed perhaps next month.
Again, I wasn't here, so, but again, as you heard what Mr. Ratcher said, he will
Right,
give
and
an
that's why I
update on
wanted
their
to submit,
report.
because I know that there was, it was mentioned that there wasn't, they weren't able to locate these minutes from the Modernization Zoning Committee, and so I wanted to submit that to Mr. Ratcher, because my question is, going along with the gas and oil update that you're working on, should we just then assume that you'll be changing the zoning map to go along with that?
Yes.
Okay, I want to give this to you because I can actually, this is what I was told they were not able to locate. And that was all the minutes from when you worked on that. So what I have is I have just the minutes from October 15th that I copied for you, and that's regulating it and keeping it in landfill M1 and M2. And then this is what was given to me at the Planning Commission, where it was updated to just M2 and landfill, M1 and landfill.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would just, I was wondering if there'd be any presentation here from Geokinetics tonight at all. Because I can wait and comment at the end, if there's anything.
Don't know that.
Well, can we ask?
They're not on the agenda.
Okay. But they can come up and comment, public comment, correct?
At their public comment, yes.
Okay. I just wanted to mention, I rewatched the tapes, and Mr. Mangini had mentioned that he drilled his first well, I believe it was in 1979, and if somebody would correct me if I read that wrong, and that there's over 400 wells that were drilled on the east side since then. And our community has changed drastically since 1979. And, I just want people to understand that this zoning ordinance that was being worked on by Mr. Ratcher and by the Planning Commission, I'm only speaking for myself. This is not something that we just started because Geokinetics came to town. This is something that it's a work in progress, and it needs to be addressed. And, we have crumbling infrastructure here, and I stated to Mr. Little over and over again that the gas line that runs across my property was put in 1935 and runs right through Monroeville. And, what we don't need is any type of activity that's going to cause any additional, and risk damaging this old infrastructure that we have. I just wanted to ask Linda, back in 2006, I believe it was, there were wells drilled on Ramsey. There was on the Kunkel property. I believe it was March of 2006. They went before the Planning Commission. And was that before or after did Ramsey Road collapse and have problems?
I really don't have an answer for that question.
Paul
off the
would
top of my
probably
head.
know. Was it?
I would tell you it was before,
It was before?
yes.
Okay, and what is the condition of the road now? It didn't look real passable to me when I...
Old Ramsey, are you talking
Yeah,
about?
Old Ramsey.
There's a partial restriction on one lane of Lower Old Ramsey.
Okay, because it's my understanding that, and maybe Mr. Garrett can confirm this, or if he doesn't want to comment, that's fine, that there were several property owners that were approached to do the testing by Cougar Land Services and also approached by Huntley and Huntley. And I'm not sure how you would take heavy equipment onto that road in the condition that it's in, but that's another huge concern of mine. So, but I would hope that you would move very quickly and update this ordinance next month, because it's long overdue. And I'd also just like to take a minute to...
Your time's about up here, kiddo, so
Okay,
wrap
well,
it up.
Okay, I'll wrap it up. One of my big concerns is the operation of how these wells are maintained as well. And I have an article here that I wanted to discuss with Mr. Mangini, but he's not here. And if there's time afterwards, I'd like to read it. Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, anybody like to address council on agenda items only? Agenda items only. If you haven't signed in, please do so. State your name for the record.
Nancy Lapsevich, Tilbrook Road, Monroeville. Good to see you back, Mayor, and sorry to hear Doc's sick.
It happens.
I respect everybody on council, what you do, how you handle yourself, and I respect the Huntley group and the residents sitting behind me and in Monroeville. So don't take this wrong for what I'm going to say. I remember a few years ago that the prayer was taken out of our council meetings because of the threat of the ACLU. I would only hope that the threat of the higher powers, not the highest power, since there's a lot of clergy here, the higher powers with the money, Huntley and Huntley, don't try to do the same thing. I think you all have integrity and dignity and will not let that happen. It's just a fear. If they come with an offer big enough, I would only hope it's not taken. Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave the floor open for anybody. If you haven't signed in, please do so and state your name for the record.
Hi, my name is Alyssa Beck, Trotwood Drive, Monroeville, Pennsylvania. I had a humbling experience last night after the Sustainable Monroeville meeting where we showed an amazing film about our regenerative future. There was somebody stuck in the parking lot, and my husband and I stayed with her and her daughter for about an hour and a half until she was able to use our AAA to get her car towed home. And she lived in Pitcairn with her daughter. She was at the library because she didn't have a computer at home. And it really got me thinking about, and it re-energized me about all of what's going on in Monroeville. I really feel a responsibility to represent people that are having a daughter that's 18 years old who can't go to college this semester because they can't afford the $500 that was part of the matriculation fee. So I'm here on behalf of everybody who doesn't have a voice. And I'm really excited because I think that there's going to be a majority of people on your council, on our council, that votes the seismic testing ordinance in place. And I'm encouraged that you're working on the oil and gas ordinance. My question to you regarding oil and gas is, what is the protocol? I asked last meeting on Thursday about that, and so I'm hoping before the end of the evening we can find out what the protocol is to get that into place as soon as possible. I'm going to hand in a few more names to the petition in support of the adoption of the seismic testing ordinance, and also show this display for people that do not want seismic testing on their property. Can that go up in the camera?
Joe, can you drill down on that?
This is available.
Joe, can you get the overhead camera, turn that on?
It says no trespassing, no seismic testing. So, for example, my street, Trotwood Drive, is on the list. It says any use of this property for seismic testing without my express written permission. Well, you can read it. Obtained in advance of such testing as a defiant trespass, and then it lists which, and you can be subject to criminal liability, and then there's more to it. But these are available for people that don't want seismic testing on their property. So again, thank you for all your hard work. I know that the work actually is just beginning because I understand oil and gas is a little more complicated than this ordinance. So thank you again.
Thank you. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, on agenda items only. Seeing none, we'll move on with our meeting, and I have an executive session announcement. Council conducted an executive session for personnel and litigation reasons prior to Citizens Night, Thursday, September 7th, 2017, beginning at 6:40 p.m. until 7 p.m. Council legislative action, if any, shall be taken tonight at the September 12th, 2017 regular council meeting. Council, looking at the minutes of the Citizens Night of August 3rd, 2017, the regular work session, council work session of August 3rd, 2017, and the regular council meeting of August 8th, 2018. Are there any other additions or corrections? Seeing none, is there a motion on the floor?
Motion.
Second. Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Cleary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
And moving over, approval of our reports of our tax collections. Once again, council, any additions or corrections? Seeing none, is there a motion on the floor?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
And moving over our payroll report, once again, council, any additions or corrections? Seeing none, once again, is there a motion on the floor? Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
And our list of bills and budget transfers, and Tom will start it off with you.
No, thank you.
Steve?
I have no questions.
Paul?
No, sir.
Jim?
Nothing, sir.
Ron?
Nothing.
Nick?
No questions.
And Linda.
Nothing, sir.
Motion on the floor.
Motion.
Is there a
Second.
second? Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Okay, moving over our vacancies, boards, commissions, and authorities. Paul, we'll start off with you. Any nominations or appointments?
No, thank you.
Steve?
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
And how about you, Paul?
No, sir.
Jim?
Nothing, sir.
Ron?
Nothing.
Nick?
Nothing.
And Linda.
Nothing, sir.
Very good. We'll move over to the new business, and we'll move over to 17-8-SUV A&L Motors. Are the applicants here?
It's been tabled there.
Oh, been tabled? Oh, okay. I wasn't here. And I assume that's the next one as well.
Yes.
Okay, 17-10-ST, the Healing Center. Are the applicants here?
They tabled it. No, they're here. They announced it, tabled it. He's healing stuff. No, he just said what happened to A&R.
Good evening.
Good evening. Please sign in if you plan on doing any speaking to council. State your name for the record and who you represent.
Jay Richards, the Healing Center.
Christopher Schmidt, Hampton Technical Associates, here representing the Healing Center.
Speak into the microphone, please.
Oh, sorry. Christopher Schmidt with Hampton Technical Associates, representing the Healing Center.
Hang on a minute, folks. Let me read this into the record. Applicant is requesting site plan approval to construct a 7,022 square foot retail building associated with site amenities. The applicant also submitted the exterior wall surface alternative request application for the installation of a split-face block on portions of the exterior of the proposed building. The property is located at 130 Mall Circle Drive in the C2 Business Commercial Zoning District. Gentlemen, would you like to present anything before council?
Just a real quick summary of the site layout, which I believe you guys discussed at your last workshop meeting. The building will be placed back towards the old convention center. We will be reconstructing the entire parking lot and all the facilities, and we will be managing the stormwater, reducing it to less than 50% of the existing runoff.
So I can get a better idea where that is. I can't read the street names. Could you tell?
Yes, this is Mall Circle Drive right here, and this is Dawn Drive, which goes under the old convention center right here. And this is the old bank and Coleman building here. We'll be tearing down that building for this.
Is this going to be on slab?
Yes, it will.
Okay, the block that you presented that you want a variance for?
Correct. Initially, we had asked for ground face block, or split face block, and at the request of planning and Mr. Wilden, we had upgraded that block to an architectural ground face block.
All right, we had a look at that block last meeting, but we weren't quite clear on the color you were planning on using. We were showed a cream colored.
I think they're changing it, correct?
But that's what I want to find out, because I'm not sure what color they're using.
Yeah, and we're
You're not sure either?
kind of still working on that ourselves, but
I
we've got...
personally like the gray, if you want any input.
Okay.
Okay.
Input is definitely welcome.
It was nice.
Well, it's over and done with.
Right off the bat, she's designing buildings.
That was easy.
I just designed my own bathroom, so, you know.
We've narrowed it down to 2, maybe 3 colors, and the idea is to have a little bit of an earth tone in there, as well as grays.
Okay.
And simply because, The design of the building is going to be somewhat of stacked stone, 3 feet 4 inches off of grade, and that'll transition into the ground face block. And so the stacked stone will be more little browner with grays in it.
Okay.
And then the split face block will be more gray with brown in it.
Okay.
And then when we get to the top of the building, it'll have metal. It'll have gray metal wrap around it. It's corrugated wrap insulated. And then we'll have a standing seam metal roof that will also be gray.
The building looked very nice from the pictures we were shown.
Thank you.
Paul W., since we got 2 Pauls, any issues in your world?
No, we performed a review. We had some comments. They've addressed the issues, and everything is moving forward.
Council, any other questions or comments on
This
this?
structure is in my ward, I believe, and I haven't received any issues, or any complaints or...
That's the rendering, right?
Yes, this is the rendering, correct.
Any other questions or comments, Council?
I'd like to
Thank
make
you.
a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Here, aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Good luck with
Good
the
luck, guys.
Thank you very much.
Tim, if you'll do the motions.
Yeah, the one motion on the agenda, and I have a second one that I informed council about. First one is a motion to approve or deny addendum permit ISO 61317 for the use of municipality of Monroeville roads to vibrosis and place receivers within certain road right-of-ways.
Motion on the floor.
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments, Council?
Motion to...
What is the motion?
Is this motion to approve?
Oh, motion to
Approve the addendum.
approve the addendum?
No, this is...
No, you
No,
would be,
I want to deny the use.
if you want to deny the use, it would be a motion to deny.
A motion to deny.
Wait, one.
Hold on.
I need a clarification of this also.
Well, that's why we're going to have questions.
Bob, well, I needed a motion and a second, then we can go to questions.
Yeah.
But
So I'll make a motion to deny.
I withdraw my second.
Nobody wants a second?
is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, now
deny.
we'll do questions.
Okay, now there's questions. Go ahead.
Okay, so the applicant is asking for permission to use the municipal roadways to conduct seismic testing. So,
Yes.
so if you wish to deny that, you would
for
vote to
joining.
deny. If you wish to approve it, you would vote to approve. Since the motion was made to deny, an affirmative vote would deny it, a negative vote would approve it.
We had already...
Very good. We
We had
just want to be on
already
board here.
said
Yeah,
about the
yeah.
public areas. Now we are saying our roads.
We're a little slow sometimes.
Well,
That's
You
what
know
I'm
when we
glad
get
y'all
into the
got-
negative eyes, things get
Can I
confusing.
reinstate my second?
We're in now, we got it.
Okay, good. So we have a motion and a second?
Yes,
Yes.
to deny.
For deny.
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 Any other questions or comments, Council?
Yes.
Please.
This is for the permit. The permit wasn't issued yet, right?
Correct. No permit was issued. This is asking for permission.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
That whole issue wasn't very clear here, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, but I always, we have to get our motion and second,
I understand that.
and then we ask questions.
Okay, well then I'll make my comments after that.
Roll call, Sharon.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Did you say aye?
He said
He
aye.
said aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Tim, resolutions, if you would.
Now, I have a motion, as I mentioned to council briefly today. We had architectural specs come in for the elevator that is going to be installed in the library. The library, as mentioned 2 months ago, received a grant for $100,000, and they also raised money, so this won't cost the taxpayers. Will directly in Monroeville, it will through, because the grant came from the state. I know specs come in, so I'm asking a motion to authorize the advertising of the bid specifications for the library elevator.
Motion to approve. Second.
Roll call, Sharon, please. Questions?
I just want to make sure that everyone is aware that this is to go out for bid, and this is something that has to be done to go out for bid for the elevator for the library.
And it's also, what, almost 100% finance?
Yeah.
It is 100%
It's 100%
finance,
finance.
including the advertising for
No-brainer.
bid. So they did a great job.
They
of
worked
running
very
it.
hard for this.
Yes.
Any other comments, council? Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Tim, resolutions, if you would.
Okay, the first resolution deals with the Healing Center that was just up here presenting their development, a resolution approving a split-face concrete masonry unit as an approved exterior surface material as provided for in Section 209.3 of Ordinance 1443 as amended for the Healing Center Site Plan Number 17-10ST located at 130 Mall Circle Drive.
Motion on the floor.
Motion.
Is there a second? Questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question, a clarification.
Approved.
I believe when he walked up here, he said that we're changing that. We're not going with the split face.
They went to a higher grade. Mr.
Paul, can you explain?
Correct.
I'll do.
The samples that we had is called ground face block. It's sort of like...
So it's under our ordinance.
No.
So we don't need to change the ordinance to accept that?
We do.
Or that's what we're in the process? Okay, very good.
Any other?
When he first walked up, he said, no, we've decided to change it.
It's not split face, it's ground face. It's similar, except it's
Oh,
been
okay.
sort of, I don't want to say
So what
polished.
needs changed here is this split-face concrete masonry?
That when they originally applied, that's what they asked for, split face. But in the process, it has become ground face.
Will this
Okay,
ordinance
but
cover
the
Will this change?
resolution still says split-face, is what I'm saying. So that needs to be changed and clarified.
We could change that to ground face block.
Very good. Let's do that.
Is that what we should do that?
Should
then,
Yes.
to Make sure.
Have a motion.
Yeah, that's...
Motion on the floor.
Otherwise,
Change.
you're going to have,
Steve, you make the motion.
I'd like to make a motion to change that.
I will second that.
Roll call, Sharon,
Wait a minute,
please.
what are you changing it to?
Split
Ground
Split face block to ground face block.
ground.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Good call. Okay, now that we have the change, is there a motion on the floor
On the resolution.
on the resolution?
Aye. I mean,
Make a motion to pass a resolution based on the change from split face to ground face. Second.
yes.
Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Oh, forgetting
Dr.
your name.
Griesbach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Timothy.
Okay, second resolution is a resolution adopting the Ford's Hospital Perioperative Services Sewage Planning Module.
Motion on the floor.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments, council? Once again, ladies and gentlemen, these items were discussed at the work session. Seeing none, roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Timothy, if you would.
Okay, item number 3 is a resolution adopting the BPMI Elmhurst Sewage Planning Module.
Motion on the floor.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Tim, if you would.
Okay, number 4 is a resolution under Act 205 of 1984, known as the Municipal Pension Plan Funding Standard Recovery Act, authorizing 2018 minimum municipal obligation for the police and non-uniform pension plans. And just for the benefit of the public, in 2018, we'll be putting into the police pension plan approximately $1.9 million, and into the non-uniform plan will be approximately $1.2 million.
Motion on the floor.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Timothy, if you would.
Okay, number 5, on the agenda there, it says parenthetically public hearing. However, we had the public hearing last Thursday, and testimony was given. This is a resolution approving the transfer of the restaurant liquor license number R-6999 into the municipality of Monroeville to Sheets Incorporated, located at 4723 William Penn Highway and Elliott Road.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Questions or comments, council? Seeing none, roll call. Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Thank you, Tim. Bob, if you'll take the Odeny ordinance.
An ordinance of the municipality of Monroeville regulating geophysical/seismic testing activities.
Motion on the floor.
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions or comments? Bob, if you would, do you have a comment on that?
I think we've discussed it pretty extensively. There were some suggestions regarding some typos, some minor revisions, whatever. Those have been made. We have essentially a final draft of the ordinance with those included, and it is up for council's consideration.
Seeing no questions or comments, roll call. Sharon, please.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
And moving on, reports of our municipal staff. Bob, any other words of wisdom?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do have an issue that's related to the discussions that we've been
Please.
having the past month or two. Now, we're talking about oil and gas drilling, and we do have an ordinance that regulates oil and gas drilling in the municipality. It's circa 2007, 2008, so one of the things about it was that was back when the state law said that you had to permit that activity in every zoning district. We are working on changing and proposing the adoption of a new ordinance, but it's probably going to be a month or two before we get to that. So an intermediate step that we can take right now is we can take the existing ordinance, and I have drafted an amendment which says as follows: an ordinance of the municipality of Monroeville amending Table 201 of Ordinance 1443 to eliminate oil and gas wells as a conditional use from every zoning district in the municipality except the M2 industrial zoning district. If we were to move forward with this amendment, what we could do is we could take the possibility of that use being instituted in every zoning district except for the M2 industrials. And then that would be a temporary measure until such time as we passed a new ordinance. So my recommendation to council is that you give Mr. Little the permission to advertise this amendment, and then it could be acted on at the October 10th meeting. And so we would have a situation where instead of being able to drill anywhere in the community, you'd only be able to drill in those...
The
M2 district. Yeah, and that would be a temporary measure until we pass the permanent ordinance, which we are working on right now.
Council, I assume you're
I would
going
like to give Mr. Little the permission.
Everybody
to
okay
go
with that?
forward with that, if everyone's okay.
I believe our solicitor says that's the way we should go. I agree with it.
I have to agree.
1443 is the zoning ordinance, and that's the ordinance that gives permission to institute that use in various areas of the municipality, in this case, everywhere. So that would take it out of the residential areas, take it out of the commercial areas, the special use areas, et cetera.
So we're amending 1443.
We would be amending the zoning ordinance, yes.
And that'll be for October.
That will be for October based on advertising now. It could be presented for action in October.
Very good.
If there's any way
So, Mr. Mayor.
it's out of court,
Sir.
that's the way to go.
Would that be posed as a motion to advertise as per Mr. Ratcher's recommendations?
Motion to advertise the amendment. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, you should do that.
Second.
Yeah, is there a motion?
Ron just made it. I seconded it.
Okay, and second. Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Clary?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
Okay, any other issues there, Bob?
None, thank you.
All righty. Tim, you have a few things there, so...
Yeah, just an announcement. The 2018 budget will be presented at the October council meeting. Number two, the trail grand opening down at Saunders Station will be on September the 30th at 10 a.m. It'll be beginning at Murraysville. There'll be, I think, some kind of a festivity in Murraysville, and then it'll be coming down to Saunders Station at 10 a.m. And that concludes my small report.
Thank you. Paul, any words of wisdom this evening, sir?
No, sir.
All righty, and Josie is off today, so we'll go over to public comments on any municipal item. And again, ladies and gentlemen, Please try to keep your comments to 5 minutes or less, if you can.
Hi, Jay Wright again, for all of you. I have a question. Are we planning on letting Huntley and Huntley or Geokinetics or anyone come underground with pipes into the parks? For oil and gas, or gas primarily, but if they set up a pad in Penn Township, are we planning on letting them coming underground? Because you can stop them now, according to the state. We checked.
Is that true? I assume.
I mean, it's up to council whether they would stop them or not. They would certainly have to come to us, first of all, for approval to do so, because even under the existing ordinance that I was just mentioning and the one I proposed an amendment to, that's a conditional use. They have to come to us. They have to comply with all of our regulations and so forth.
Okay, but are we going to let them come into our parks and do this?
I can only speak for myself, but I would think that if they did come to us to ask to do that, most of us, I think, would just say, no, we don't want you to do it.
Well, yeah, no.
The answer would be no.
Of this.
Well, I'm just
That's
asking
a road
because
we're
they're
going to have
waive
to
a lot of
cross
money
here in
to
the
you
near
guys.
future.
Huh?
That's something we're going to have to address here in the near future.
Okay, the reason I'm asking, Steve, they're going to waive money. I mean, it's a big bit. I found out in the last week how big a business this place is. All these companies are all interconnected, most of them, one way or another. There's lawsuits galore right now going on in Pennsylvania. We also found that out. So I'd like to know if we're going to try to stop them from coming underground into the parks.
I think he made that pretty clear. I think the majority is saying yes.
Well, that's what I'm asking, Mr. Mayor. That's all. I thank you very much.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, leaving up for public comment. Hi.
Hey, Mayor.
If you'll sign in and state your name for the record, Reverend, I'd appreciate it.
Reverend Scott Gallagher, pastor of Garden City United Methodist Church. I am here representing the Monroeville Interfaith Ministerium with a statement to share. I actually accomplished writing things and speaking at the same time. That's a first. I appreciate the opportunity that the council gives us to read this statement. We sent this out to members of the council for the opportunity, so we thank you for that. Our statement is, we, the elected officials of Monroeville and the leaders of the Monroeville Interfaith Ministerium and the East Allegheny chapter of the NAACP, join our voices together in denouncing acts of racism around our nation. One of our greatest elements of Monroeville is the diversity of our ethnicity, culture, faith, and race within our community. We celebrate our diversity and declare that there is no room for hatred and bigotry in our community. White supremacy, bigotry, and hate are wrong. They are intolerable and do not represent who we are as a country or as a Monroeville community. We stand united against racism. I appreciate the opportunity, your support to the ministerium. Also, just a footnote, this coming Sunday from 3 until 7, we're having a community gathering hosted by the ministerium in Monroeville Park West, Pavilion number 5. It's to celebrate our diversity. It's an opportunity for the community to get together, to share in different foods from around the community, different games, and just to be out as the loving community we are. Our theme for that event, and you may see some of these banners around our houses of worship, embracing love, standing against hate, with the ministerium's signature on the corner, our emblem at the corner, not signature. But we wanted to present this to you, Mr. Mayor, that you can display it at your convenience.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave it open for public comment. And again, please try to keep your comments 5 minutes and under, if you would, please.
Hi again. So I just wanted to follow up on the drilling under the municipality of Monroeville question. Mr. Ratcher, I want to be sure that in addition to the amendment, when it comes to the final measure, that we don't have drilling under Monroeville in any place other than what is already industrial. So that the gas companies cannot come in deeply under the earth, underneath our municipality, in places that above ground we say no.
The ordinance that we ultimately adopt will obviously be out for public inspection and comment, and
so
you'll certainly have the opportunity to review it and confirm that fact.
Okay. The other thing is, where will this be displayed on the Monroeville website, so that when citizens go to the Monroeville website, I know you have to advertise it, where does it get advertised? So you're going to advertise it right away. Does it
have
go?
the authorization to advertise in a newspaper. It has to be in a newspaper of general circulation.
And what newspaper will that be?
The Times, well, excuse me, the Post-Gazette Local Extra, which comes out on Friday, just on Friday.
So that'll be in for about 3 weeks or so?
No, it'll only be in once. It has to be advertised no less than 7, no more than 60 days, an ordinance.
So if it's in once, then that's considered 1 week?
Correct.
Okay.
And usually it's a week before the meeting in most cases.
Okay, so that's where we'll look for it. Will it also be on the website for people to look at that have computers?
Yeah, any time we have anything of, I guess the way I could term it is of sensitivity that the public is concerned about, we usually have that right up front on the front page.
Okay, great.
With a link.
That's beautiful. Also, I had asked at the Citizens Night for a public engagement meeting, and I wanted to offer, I didn't hear anything about that yet, maybe you just haven't gotten to it, but I want to offer Monday, October 9th at 7 p.m. We have the room reserved for Sustainable Monroeville, so that is an open offer. If you want to use that for public engagement, where the council people would step over to the library along with Mr. Hugus, the whole group here, and have an opportunity for the citizens to come in and have open dialogue about this. We've had open meetings at Sustainable Monroeville. There's a lot of people that have a lot of questions. We're limited to 5 minutes here. At Sustainable Monroeville, people can speak longer than that, and there's dialogue, back and forth dialogue amongst groups of people. So I'm offering that, and I'm hoping that you'll take me up on that. I'm hoping, or we're asking for at least one public meeting with all of you present so that we can have back and forth dialogue. Thank you for the temporary measure. I think that was brilliant. And that's all I have. So thank you.
Please sign in, sir. State your name for the record. Good to see you, Ken.
Good to see you too, Mayor. It's good to be seen.
That's true.
Every day above the ground is a good day, right?
Very good.
My name's Kenneth Houston. I live at 108 Edgemere Drive. I'm president of the NAACP Allegheny East. I want to thank this honorable council for the opportunity to address you all. I'm a little embarrassed to say this is my first council meeting. I should have been here a long time ago. One of the things that I want to share with you all this evening is I serve 5 municipalities and 4 school districts under my presidency, including the Gateway School District. The NAACP was extremely disappointed at the steps taken by the school board the other day to hire a part-time equity officer in lieu of $30,000. This individual is a full-time principal at the West Mifflin School District. We felt that it was a great disservice to the equity that we have in our school district. The NAACP will be holding a press conference tomorrow, and we're calling on a community watch. And we're asking that we create a community watch where you all are involved as well. Why? Because $70+ million is operated as taxpayers' money in this school district. And we have put it in the hands of some individuals that have been extremely disappointing. It's important that equity is seen throughout any organization with a $70 million budget. I don't think that's too much to ask, gentlemen and lady. It's kind of disheartening when you have over 30-plus citizens come and address a board, and really the condescending body language that we received and the blatant disregard of who we are as citizens was very, very disheartening. I have a 9-year-old child in this school district. I have 2 daughters who graduated from the school district. One is serving in the United States Navy as an E5. We need you all to step up and speak out. I think that these decisions that's made by this school board in the cloak of night, the lack of transparency with the public, has to stop. And it's
You
not
do
about,
realize these are 2 different entities, correct?
I'm very aware of that.
Okay.
More than you know.
Very good, but I mean, I hear...
I totally get it. But you are a citizen, and you do serve this municipality
Yes, I
as an
do.
elected official.
Yes, I do.
So as an elected official, I think it's imperative that you give your input and concern as to what is happening with the decision-making process of our school district. I don't believe in starting fires, and I think the mayor and police chief and Mr. Little and those that know me know that I build bridges, I don't burn them. But I think that it's imperative that we stand united in asking for transparency. What's wrong with transparency? So I'm asking all of you to just pay attention and ask questions as to what is going on with $70+ million of the taxpayers' money. Equity is good for everybody. It's not about race, believe it or not. People think equity is about race. It's not. So my concern is that we don't allow, and by the way, the individual that they hired is an African American. And I'm expressing vehemently that he may be qualified, but he works as a full-time principal. How could he possibly serve in that position for $30,000+ per time? So I thank you and I appreciate you, and I know you guys will do the right thing. I also want to say this. I want to give a shout out to, believe it or not, the garbage men. I am absolutely proud of the men that come around on Tuesday mornings in my neighborhood and empty the garbage.
You're here.
They do a phenomenal job. I actually got up early in the morning, and I actually went out and shook those guys' hands. Because, you know, I don't know what I've thrown so much stuff out in the garbage, it's pathetic. But they have always picked it up. I actually watched a young man get off the truck and pick up a piece of paper and put it in the garbage truck. I don't know what you're paying those guys, but I tell you what, they deserve every penny that they work and make. They're good guys, and I really, really appreciate them. And sometimes it's good to give kudos to the little guy, you know, the ones that we don't see every day. Thank you. Appreciate
And I'm
your
glad
time.
you brought up about the garbage bin, because my wife told me to put out the garbage, and I forgot already.
Well, I got to do it tonight. We're in the same boat.
Good to hear from you, Kenny.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave the floor open. If you haven't signed in, please do so and state your name for the record.
Chad Steubenbort, resident of Monroeville. I just wanted to ask if council or Manager Little put any thought into the RFP for the second headquarter for Amazon that I gave to council last week.
As we speak, I have been in contact with Mr. Fitzgerald and Chuck Martoni, and he's bringing it up in front of county council to consider our old Westinghouse site. I wasn't happy. I'll be upfront with everybody here and watching TV. They did not mention us in the news article that came out on that, but I assure you, I'm on it.
Okay. Because if we are going to submit an RFP, I believe that would require council, like a motion by council. Is that correct, Mr. Ratcher?
Yes.
So, being that it's a voting meeting, I would highly recommend that someone make a motion to submit an RFP. And just to walk you guys through the math real quick. Again, it's 50,000 jobs starting out with an average of more than $100,000. So that's $5 billion in salaries alone. If we just look at, let's take away mercantile tax, take away business privilege tax, even take away real estate taxes for them. 1% earned income tax on $5 billion is $50 million, or 167% of our operating budget. So I would strongly suggest going after this with every ounce of
Well, just so you
manpower
know,
we have.
not all 50,000 would be located in any one location. They're looking at a few locations due to the number of employees, just so you know that.
Correct. But however, in Seattle, they took their 33 building campus and they comprised it to 3 city blocks. We do have 2 great resources available here, 2 corporate headquarter locations that I would love to see.
We're trying. I know I'm trying.
Okay. So when I'm done speaking, I would really appreciate to see a motion then to do that. The other thing I wanted to speak of, and Nick, are you still on the phone?
He may not be. Nick!
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. There he is.
All right. So,
He's taking cold medicine.
You awake here?
Give him a minute.
'tis the season.
Sorry, I was on mute.
Not a problem. At the last council meeting, on 4 occasions, it was stated that the MS4 and the fee were 2 completely different subjects. And again, so this time I'm actually just going to ask for clarity, because there's only 5 goals listed on your guys' website for your annual financial report. Goal 5.5 states, continue to evaluate the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System, MS4 program, as it relates to implementation of a flat fee for all property owners to repair an aging storm sewer system infrastructure. In the next sentence under relevant financial policies and major initiatives, it states analyzing the the MS4 program and evaluating how to pay for a 5-year capital improvement program. So, I was told multiple times, and I sat down and they wouldn't allow me to address the council again. So I'm just looking for clarity at how 4 separate occasions last week I was told these are completely separate, but yet in Goal 5 it says MS4 flat fee to all residents. And again, this was signed off by Josephine, who started just 5 months ago. She probably didn't start this on day 1 of her job, so it's probably within the last few months that this obviously has been discussed. So can anyone shed any light on that further than the explanation that's already been given, which is it's on the back burner?
Mr. Hugus, would you like to...
Well, before I'm not discussing the 5-year. I know you had said it's an annual. I'm not discussing the 5-year permit period. I'm simply asking the document that is listed on your website that I was told was separate by yourself and by Mr. Griesach, Dr. Griesach, sorry, multiple times last week, that they were separate. Why is it under one goal? This is a document you guys created. I didn't create this. A third party did not create this.
Mayor.
Sir.
The comment period, which Mr. Stubenboard refers to, which I believe ended in August, is for the annual permit that we have to do in order to have this program.
I'm not referring to the permit. I talked with Mr. Hugus. He's explained eloquently.
That is when I say it's separate, that is separate.
Okay, well then can someone shed light on?
The permit is separate than the funding of it.
Very good.
Which you keep tying them together.
I never mentioned a permit last time, so that's why I'm asking for clarification. It clearly states the MS4 program as it relates to the implementation of a flat fee for all property owners to repair an aging sewer system.
Greg, may I?
Please.
I probably have heard this and that question 6 times recently. And I think the answer was, A, you agree that the permit's a separate issue. B, the MS4 and what you read there was looked into. And then it was put on hold because a whole bunch of other issues came up that we had to deal with. So it is out there as a possibility, but no action has been taken on it. And it's all they were trying to do, with clarity, is tell the people that there is a possibility. That is one of the options. But nothing's been decided on it yet because it's been put on hold. We had hearings on it. We had an engineer showing
I'm not discussing the permit. I'm discussing the fee. So the fee was
put
originally
on hold, and you've been told that at least 3
I
times.
have been told that. Why I'm troubled
if I
by
may
that.
intervene also. what it is a state mandate. They're going to mandate that we charge a fee.
Federal.
Or federal, state. The higher people are going to mandate that we charge a fee to cover this. And I'm sure it's going to take some time once we get the general mandate down to, come up with a fee or however this is gonna be done.
Respectfully, there is, and I can send you guys all, I'm sure you have it, a good article that discusses all the different ways to fund this, whether it's out of your general fund, whether it's...
Chad, what do you
floating
think,
bond.
what do you think council's doing? How do you think we're proceeding with this? Do you think we're doing this behind everybody's back? Or are we just, like Mr. Harvey said, it's been on the back burner for a while, and that's where it's going to be until we need to move forward?
Which is, again, where I'm seeking clarity. I've been told it's on the back burner, but yet you were quoted in 2 newspaper articles since it's been placed on the back burner. An employee that just started 5 months ago wrote a report referring to it. So if it's been on the back burner, it obviously had to have been mentioned somewhere for her to make... There's only 5 financial goals for the entire municipality, 5 of them, and one of them is the implementation of a fee. So if we're going to say that this is on the back burner, where I'm having trouble understanding is how...
Where are you going with it?
Why don't you come and see maybe at the budget hearings to see if there's a line item of a fee that we've collected or we're planning on collecting from the municipality, from the residents.
So is it fair to say
offset the cost?
no clarification will come out of this?
No, wait a
evening
second.
meeting?
You're not even listening to what I just said.
Politely...
If we are implementing a fee, it will be shown in our budget, correct? An estimate of a fee of the amount of money that we're planning on bringing in and where we're planning on using that? Wouldn't that be in our upcoming budget discussions?
It would be voted on prior to it being passed,
Well,
yes.
okay, so it would have to be in our budget or it would have to be on our agenda, and it's neither place right now. Because we have not gotten all the answers to the questions for us to make an informed decision as to how to fund the implementation of fixing all of our storm sewers that is going to be mandated by the federal government. And if you have the money in your bank account, let us know. Because right now, that's part of what we're going to have to figure out. But we took the last couple months to look into all the seismic testing, as well as everything else for this municipality.
You brought up a great example, Mrs. Gatos. Seismic testing, right?
Mayor, I believe 5 minutes is up.
Well, he's got 1 minute and 40 seconds. Go ahead.
Seismic testing actually occurred in Monroeville already, correct?
That was done by the state. That was not allowed by this municipality.
Exactly. Well, what I'm saying is it has been done, and then you guys addressed the issue. This is something that's been up again and again and again, and all I'm simply asking for is clarity.
This is not a subject matter where I can read this piece of paper and be clear on exactly what's going on. We have talked with other municipalities, we have done hearings, we have presented it to the public, we've had discussion. There's nothing happening behind closed doors that all of a sudden you're going to get a bill in the mail. You will know that before it happens if that's how we decide that we need to move forward. But we are trying to become informed so that we can inform you properly.
And there will be public
every
hearings
single time like we're
on
up to
anything
something.
that happens up here.
Keep seeing it come up after it's said on
No, 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 you keep bringing it up.
The last 2 things I wanted to say was, number 1, I just wanted to send my best to, I forgot to mention this at the last meeting, to Bern Erb's family, former councilman who passed away way too early. So to Bern, thank you for serving. I know he was a very vocal one up here. He always had a lot to say, but he was a friend of mine, and I just want to say best wishes to his 2 young children, to his wife as well. Lastly, I want to say next Tuesday at the Gateway High School Auditorium, starting at 6:30, there is a human trafficking and online and social media safety seminar for the teachers and parents, or anyone else in the community that would like to attend.
What time, I'm sorry?
It starts at 6:30. The first hour will be done by individuals from Forbes Hospital, so we'd like to thank Forbes for stepping up and doing that. And the second hour will be done by the Pennsylvania State Police, going over internet safety and social media safety. So.
Chad, that date was next?
Tuesday is the 18th at 6:30.
At the auditorium?
Correct. And if anyone's watching at home...
Tuesday.
Oh, Sorry, Monday the 18th, not Tuesday. Let me clarify that for everyone. Also, if anyone is watching at home, if you have to bring little ones, we are offering free babysitting because the material is not suitable for children. So just want to get that out there. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Mayor?
Sir?
I'd like to, if it's appropriate, make a motion to look into this, if that's what I need to do, Amazon.
To design the RP for this.
Do we need to do that?
Yes.
I just asked Mr.
Well, before you do that,
I like that.
okay,
Second.
I think what the mayor said is on spot, where the county is looking into this, and to to submit an RFP, which I think it's all well and good, Chad, and I think it's good intentions, and I mean that sincerely. But I think the better way to go, and council, if you want to make a motion, fine.
I do.
Yeah, he does.
I do.
And I'll second it.
That concludes that.
Roll call, Sharon, please. I'll have a comment afterwards.
Sure.
Discussion, was the motion for the RFP or?
Yeah, for the RFP,
Yes.
Nick.
Discussion.
Please.
I believe what Mr. Little was getting to and Mayor Cinco was referring to is that I believe that we have more strength by going through the county for such a project instead of presenting an RFP by ourselves. So I would ask council to consider that when they vote on this.
Well, here's what I would
Can we
say.
do both?
Well, hang on a minute.
I send it to the county.
Well, here's what I was going to suggest. Maybe pass this motion to get an RFP so we can do it. But I think even before we would submit, we are working with the county on this issue. So Chuck Martoni, our county counsel, will be giving me a report tomorrow on the progress of where the county is with Amazon. So, and certainly I assure you, Chuck's on board with looking at our site. Certainly I've already addressed this with Rich. And so, again, I think that, Nick, you brought a good point up.
I guess I'm trying to say, Mr. Mayor, that it would be nice that for the county to understand, besides you going down and talking, that we, as all of us, are all in favor of...
Well, it would have to be that way anyway.
You mean going through the county?
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
No, we
Is there
agree
a
with that.
timeline or a deadline?
Yeah, it has to be in by the 17th. Am I correct, Chad? October
October,
19th.
correct.
Right.
Well, let's move on it. We're talking about replacing, Westinghouse that left us or whatever.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Any other questions or
Question.
comments?
One more question.
Go ahead, Nick.
I don't know if this would be a question for Mr. Little or for Mr. Ratcher, but would, by us doing our own RFP, would that isolate us from the county?
Well, I think, Nick, I think the situation is one where you'd obviously have some kind of a dialogue with the county. I mean, you wouldn't want to just say, send it off to Amazon without the county knowing about it. I think the thing to do is Greg's already made contact with the county, make them aware that, we intend to submit something and be in consideration for it, and that way that base is covered.
Is everybody
Very good.
okay with that?
I don't see why it would upset the county. It just
Well, I
shows our
think if you
interest.
give them a heads up that we're
Yeah.
doing
Let them know
it,
that
would
we're
be the
interested.
best
Sure.
way to handle that. That way that they don't feel like we're trying to go
No,
around.
no, yeah, absolutely not, but it would show our interest, I think.
I think, Bob,
Again, it would be up to Bob to let us know for sure, but
Yes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
all right, roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Caleri?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye.
All righty.
Thank you.
Again, we still have the floor open for any public comment on any municipal items. Sir, if you'll sign in on either one and state your name for the record, if you would. And good to see you, Steve.
Good to see you. Steve O'Donnell, a resident of Monroeville, and I'm also a school board member. The school board will be taking up a vote shortly with respect to requesting the Planning Commission to change the rating, what's my word, I'm looking, zoning, from its current residential to a C2. Now, I'm talking about the 26 acres that lies across 22 in which the junior high is currently located. The school board anticipates passing that motion and then putting that property up for sale or lease. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you was, there's a $3,800 fee, I believe, somewhere in that neighborhood associated with that. I am approaching council to ask if that can be waived, and if it can be waived, does that require a vote of council?
It can be waived. It is up to council to do so, would require a vote.
Okay. So I'm officially asking that council give that consideration. And as we go forward with this initiative, and I think most of you know this has been on the burner for years and years and years, but we're advancing it. I believe it's fair to say that the school board intends to either lease or sell this property to a tax-paying entity, or an entity that would pay taxes, or what's called in lieu of taxes, a sum of money equal to the amount of money that we would otherwise get. As we go forward too, we'll be talking to the Planning Commission, and it is the Planning Commission that we go forward to. Am I not correct?
You make in a petition to amend the zoning map.
Correct.
The first stop for you is Planning Commission, then they make a recommendation to council. Council is the ultimate decider of that issue. But your first step is with the Planning Commission.
Right. We've kept Mr. Little informed, and we've kept the mayor informed of this as it's been going along over the past number of months, Mr. Wilson as well. We'll also at that time be prepared, the superintendent will be there, the surveyor will be there, et cetera, to talk about or try to answer any questions that you might have regarding the use, long-term use, as I said, sale or lease to a taxable entity, what we will be doing with the young folks that attend that school. We have plans already in the works for taking care of that. So to end this, I'm officially asking, we'll submit the paperwork in several days, assuming the board passes it, to consider waiving that fee. Okay?
Thank you,
Steve, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Would the fee place a burden on the school district?
Financially?
Yes.
No.
Okay. So why are you asking for the fee to be waived?
The more we save, the better off we are. We're in pretty good financial condition. I mean, I think most everybody knows that.
Therefore, then why not just pay the fee?
Well, it's up to you. We're asking that it be waived.
Okay.
And I'm being honest with you about our financial position. Okay?
Thanks.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open. Seeing none, we'll close that portion of the meeting, and we'll go to our reports of our council. Linda, I'm going to start off with you first.
Okay. I Thursday did, and I will do again, condolences to the Erb family. Sudden loss of a loved one is very difficult. I've been through it, and it's very hard. And so my heart goes out to the family. Next is the Pierogi Fest that will be at the Senior Center. Again, I've said this is the perfect event for the beginning of the fall season. It is Wednesday, September 20th at 12 o'clock. It's $6 a person. They're going to have live entertainment, polka dancing. There will be pierogies, haluski, kibasi, apple pie, and when you think about it, it costs you less to go there than it does for a fast food meal. And
kind of
it's a lot
pierogies?
better. What?
What kind of pierogies?
Potato.
They're Nick's moms. They're Nick's moms.
Yeah, so it's a super event. They do great things over at the center, and so if you haven't been there, again, I'm going to tell you, every time I tell you about an event, give it a try. You'll go back.
They can have bread?
So,
Is there going to be bread?
no, there'll be haluski and apple pie.
I'm in.
Apple pie. Another thing is October 7th from 9 to 1 o'clock at 200 Star Drive here in Monroeville. Pre-registration is required. It's going to be the Public Works Collection event. You will have to pay per pound, but at least you can get rid of your TVs and things like that that nobody has any idea what to do with anymore. So there is a flyer. They want you to call for an appointment at 1-866-815-0016, and I believe this is up on our website, Mr. Lee?
Correct, yes it is. I was just going to say that.
Yeah, so
On our
there's
website.
cost per pounds, there's items of what you can bring, what you can't, so this is a great event that is held once a year, so you need to get rid of stuff, and the garbage men can't take it, and goodness knows they do take almost your whole house if you put it out there. This event will help you. And I'd like to thank everyone that showed up tonight. We always appreciate your comments, and thank you. And that's all I have.
Nick.
Oh, that was what I
Yes, Mayor, just wanted to announce this Sunday, 6:30 to 8:30 at the Monroeville Community Park Amphitheater is our last summer concert series
I did that.
hosted by the Monroeville Recreation Department and sponsored by UPMC East. The band is No Bad Juju. They are a high-energy rock band. They play a lot of songs that everybody knows. They are actually a reschedule from earlier in the season, so come out this Sunday and enjoy that concert. Hopefully the weather is good for it. And on during the week of September 11th, just want to remind people to not forget those that we have lost and all of those that serve our community and this country, both in the military and our first responders. So that's all I have for tonight, Mayor. And one last thing, a quick, someone mentioned the garbage man earlier. I wanted to mention a couple employees real quick. Mr. Joe Habala, who's running the cameras down in the downstairs, and Mr. Joe Balsick for connecting me up here last minute. Sorry for the inconvenience for everybody and for any kind of technical issues we're having, but they jumped in there real quick and got me up and running, so I appreciate all their hard work. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Linda, you have another issue.
Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you about the fitness center over at the senior center is having a ribbon cutting event. We want to thank Forbes Hospital for the donation made to the senior center. They've been able to buy some new equipment for the fitness room, which is just an amazing thing. That's going to be held on Monday, October 2nd at 11:30. So here's another opportunity once again. Please go check out the senior center and or the fitness center. Thank you, Mayor.
Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
Just two quick things if anybody hasn't read it in the Borough News, and I think the public would be interested in it too. This publication that comes out to us is requesting that councils like ourselves throughout the state oppose these two bills because it threatens the local decision-making on building code enforcement. I'm not going to read the whole article. The House Bill 1469 and Senate Bill 663, they're advising us as council people and residents to call your state legislature and oppose this bill because it's taking our decision capabilities away from us greatly. The other thing I wanted to warn you of is that if Senate Bill 172 passes, that is going to authorize the state to fund speed cameras on the roadways where there's work zones. So even though you don't see the state police car, you can get a citation in the mail. So I just wanted to let you know that that's on the way and coming, so be careful in speed zones. And one other thing I just wanted to mention, and I had this in my folder from months ago, and I forget why. It's interesting that the school district come up here and ask to waive that fee for, changing the property and stuff, because when, in 2001, we went to them and asked for a crappy, yucky, wooded hillside with a trench in the middle of it so we could build a fire academy, and they charged us $200,000 for that. So, just a reminder. That's it.
Yeah, I see a couple of heads were shaking. That's House Bill 1469 and Senate Bill 663, and that has to do with the zoning rights of the municipality. You can get that if you go on to the state website. You'll be able to pull that up. Okay? Jimmy.
Yes, sir. A few things going on at the Convention Center. Western PA Safety Day, Thursday the 14th of September. Fight Night, For Whom the Bell Tolls, featuring Pittsburgh top prospects. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I think they're a bunch of old guys. Celebrate Monroeville.
I resemble that, Jim.
There's my feelings,
Sorry. Celebrate Monroeville, Wednesday, September 27th.
It's terrible.
Mind Body Healing Expo featuring psychic medium James Van Prague. Saturday, September 30th and October 1st. Pittsburgh Wedding Flea Market, Saturday, September 30th. Military Antiques Extravaganza, October 6th and 7th. Three Rivers Wet Weather Sewer Conference, that wasn't easy to say. October 11th and 12th. Westpac's Job Fair, Wednesday, October the 11th. Here's one that will interest a lot of you old folks. Holiday House Reunion Party number 2. This won't be good for you. So Good for the Soul, a tribute to Motown, Friday, October 13th and the 14th. Kids Artistic Review, October 15th, Showmasters Gun Show, October the 21st and 22nd, and Pan-Fall Coin Show, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the 26th, 7th, and 28th, the Pan-Fall Coin Show. Real quickly, once again, the Herb family, you have my deepest sympathy. Burn wherever you are. Anybody that's been involved in council, I've been up here almost 6 years. I know he's paying attention. He was a pain in the ass, but he was a good guy. He was the key that turned the lock that got this community back on track. And I mean that with my heart. So a lot of you people think back to what went on in this council. Vern Herb was the key that opened the lock that got this stuff back where it belongs. With that, I'm done.
Paul?
Just a few library updates. Just wanted to go over what we talked about a little bit the last meeting, that September is a percentage match. The Buncher Foundation, they once again granted the Allegheny County Libraries with a matching grant for money that whatever we raise in September. So we got a bunch of stuff going on. There's a special book sale on the Book Nook. Dad just providing the library with 10% back on all checks where people present the fundraising flyer, which you can get off their website. There's a fundraiser at Panda Express on 9/21. It's just go in and buy your regular food, show them the flyer, same thing. Friends of the Library are holding a trivia night fundraiser on Saturday, September 23rd. And this will all go towards the Build the Backyard campaign, which is they're looking to build a nice pavilion in the back. And this is stuff that people have requested just because they have some property back there that they're going to doll up and put a pavilion there for people that can go outside. And if they're not all gone yet, there were 30 yard signs, and there's some Love Your Library pins. You can go and pick them up if there are any left. They are free. And with that, I'm done. And it was good to hear from you, Kenny. Been a while.
Steve?
Yeah, again, my condolences to the Herb family. He's a great guy. And prayers to the 9/11 victims and the residents and lives affected by the recent hurricanes in Texas and Florida. And that's all I have.
Tom?
Yes, Mayor. My condolences to the hurricane victims. I have a request to council that the Gateway Sports Hall of Fame is celebrating its 15th year of inductions to this date. 75 Gators have been inducted into the Gateway Sports Hall of Fame. This year's induction banquet is scheduled for Saturday, October 14th at the Doubletree Hotel in Monroeville. We're soliciting advertising space and a commemorative booklet. The advertising booklet is our only means of fundraising for this event. I am asking council to consider a half a page advertisement for this Gateway Sports Hall of Fame at $50. And Tim, how should we proceed with this?
Ask for a motion.
Ask for a motion, Tom.
I'd like a motion to approve.
There's a second and a motion.
What is a half page, $50?
$50.
How much is a whole page?
100.
The whole page. Double second.
Let's do the 100?
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, that's
Motion. I need a motion
Hall
for
of
that.
Fame.
So, do we have to
One-time
deny the
thing.
first motion?
Okay.
So we had a motion and a second.
Why don't you just withdraw it?
Withdraw your first motion, Tom, and we'll make a second.
Well, I'm going to withdraw my first motion. I'm going to make a motion that we do the $100 ad.
And I will
Thank you.
second that one.
I thought I seconded it.
You did already.
Yeah, but you have to rescind it.
You have to be
It's for
faster.
50.
Okay. Whatever.
We know what we're doing, huh?
Jeez, oh man.
We have a motion and a second to do the full page for $100. Roll call, Sharon, please.
Mrs. Gatos?
Aye.
Dr. Griesbach?
Aye.
Mr. Harvey?
Aye.
Mr. Johns?
Aye.
Mr. Caleri?
Aye.
Mr. Duncan?
Aye, aye.
Mr. Wilson?
Aye. Thank you, council.
Thank you.
And by the way, Miss Woodhull? Miss Woodhull? Miss Woodhull's father is going to be inducted into this Hall of Fame. He was
Congratulations.
he was my basketball coach long time ago.
She's still there?
I didn't know that.
I don't know.
Right.
Really?
Long time ago. I couldn't walk and chew gum, but that's okay.
You still can't.
You took the words out of my mouth.
But you had fun, though.
I had a lot of fun. I have one more thing, and this is for council and for the public. The PA Supreme Court has struck down part of the reforms in June for workmen's compensation. Insurers and businesses are bracing for the largest annual increase in benefit costs. The cost could rise to 6.06% effective November 1st, 2017. This would be the highest annual hike in 20 years and could relate to double-digit increases in insurance premiums that employers pay. Just wanted to put that out as a note out there for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, and I'll be very quick as well. Just so everybody knows that I do know that one of our churches here, and I don't want to use their name, I don't want to embarrass any other facility, but they did send a tractor trailer full of stuff down to the Houston area, and they're going to do another one. So kudos to Monroeville residents for jumping in on that. And again, Nick, you stole a little bit of my thunder, but please remember our people that do service each and every day, our fire, police, and EMS. When we have issues of trouble, they don't run from it, they run to it. Just remember that. And to our 9/11 families that lost loved ones, certainly our condolences. And with that, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you and good night.